David, you mentioned your son, and that's it's very vulnerable to talk about our loss in public. Obviously, you've no doubt had some time and some practice, but I don't imagine it's easy for you. No matter how trained you are, for all of us, that have training and helping others with our grief. How is this different for those of us who are therapists who maybe are experiencing this loss?
Grief is a interesting area that I think we sort of all know the framework of it sometimes. It's a little like you're describing, a house that's burning. I mean, we all get and can picture what a house burning is like. It's always different when you're the one in the house. So as much as we may, understand the concept of grief intellectually, when it hits us, it's a very different thing. And, I think about what grief is. Grief is a change that we didn't want. Rich's passing is definitely a change none of us wanted in this world. Grief is the reflection of a connection that's been lost. We all felt so connected to Rich. And at the end of the day, grief is love. And so, grief and love are a package deal this lifetime. And, with all the love we got and care from Rich, also comes the grief. So I think that's what we're going through. And to understand this is a natural process, a painful, painful process, and a very organic process that we know how to do.
David, is there such a thing as good grief?
I think good grief is when you're letting yourself organically, authentically feel it. I mean, we spend so much time, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and I, trying to help people understand, her work, that the stages were never a map for grief. There's no one right way to do grief. They're not linear. There's no model for grief. I always say all of us come from a long line of dead people. Every ancestor we know has died. Our soul and psyche, we're designed to take a number of hits this lifetime. And our world tells us we're doing grief wrong, but there really is no way to do grief wrong if you're authentically feeling what's coming up inside of you.
It reminds me, and maybe you could speak more to this if it's helpful for people to hear about it, that when we deny our grief, right? When we have trouble feeling what we're feeling, sharing it with others, that it becomes more complicated. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, look, what we keep in us hurts us. What we get out heals us and helps us. And I think many times we've all been taught either grief is weakness or tears or sadness or, there's many, many colors of grief. There's not one right way to do it. And all our grief looks different because all of us had a different relationship with Rich. So it's going to feel different for each one of us. And, I think the more we allow those feelings to come up, one of the things is I think we're one of the first generations that has feelings on feelings. I'm angry, but I don't have a right to be angry, or I'm sad, but I shouldn't be sad because I wasn't his family member. And, we're judging our feelings instead of just allowing them and feeling them.
Yeah, well said. Well said.